The only thing that's worthless is an empty slot in your backpack. So.
Now that's a saying for us to put at the start of the show. Like,
I like it.
the only thing that's worthless is an empty slot. I love that idea. Welcome back to the Kitted Podcast. My name's Toffee. I'm joined by Porosaurus to continue to break down all of the action and talk about the stuff that's going on in the Tarkov world, and more importantly, just playing it ourselves from the perspective of two guys who aren't streamers, aren't crazy chads. We're just trying to survive in a very, very difficult game. Poro, I know that you've had a difficult game down in Texas. Is that making it easier or harder to play Tarkov?
You know, I've been kind of locked up in the house for a few days, and definitely got a few offline raids in. I learned from Unfluffy Sheep last week that
Bunny.
That is the best. Unfluffy Bunny. I'm sorry, shit. That is the best way as a new player to kind of go in there. So I did some offline raids.
Okay.
And yet somehow, Toffees, this game still managed to tilt my shit to the moon, and I'm very ready to talk about it soon. So
all right.
Stay tuned. That we call that a teaser in the biz. In the
biz, it's a teaser. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a short, quick show. We're going to talk about his experiences. We're also going to have our guest today. It is going to be Vanarambaion. He's going to fix that for me when he comes on. He is a Sherpa and a mod for a lot of streamers that I'm sure that you are very aware of. So we get to hear about his journey a little bit, as well as, to be honest, I need to understand what the Sherpa program is. This has been around for like 3 years in Tarkov, designed to help players like, say, Poro, who don't know what they're doing, or maybe other players who are struggling to get through the mid game. And I think most of us, like, I didn't even know it was a thing till last year.
Never heard of it.
Exactly. So I want to bring him on to talk about the program so that you guys at home, if you're like, I can't get into room 216, I need help, maybe there's a Sherpa you could sign up to get a little bit of assistance instead of dropping 2 million rubles on the stupid room key. We'll get into that because keys cost millions now, Poro, and that is a problem in and of itself. All right. I'm going to bring him on in a minute. First, we want to break into Poro's experience in Tarkov. My experience, you guys all understand it. I just finished Punisher, so I will leave it at that. I will never touch another SVDS until the end of the wipe. Done.
Well, talk more about that. Talk more about that, because I want to know. You're okay. Like, the people we're talking to probably are more around your level. They're coming to hear me for the memes, dude. They want to talk about what's actually going on, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. They changed. Remember last week we talked about the recoil buff changes.
Okay.
It has made places like Interchange a fucking nightmare to do things like Punisher with single shot weapons, because these guys are running around with UMPs, VALs. I've seen a couple of vectors. They're just absolutely shredding us with the lack of recoil. But if you are not familiar with Punisher, Punisher is a very famous quest line in Tarkov. Okay. Happens in the mid game. If you have a basic account, you have to do it to start moving your secure containers upgraded. And it is called Punisher because it is just brutal. There's a storyline behind it of like sort of scavs fighting in an arena, and we think there's going to be like a death arena added to the game at some point because of the storyline. That said, the storyline sucks. It's literally, I think there's one quest line later that's actually called like stupid or wasted. I forget what it's called, insanity. And it's just like every time you talk about it, you're like, I hate this quest. Punisher is the only one that is up there with that for me, and it is just an absolute grind. You have to wear shitty gear the whole time.
So what is it that you need to do actually?
Okay, so it's 7 different stages, and each of those stages requires you go out and kill PMCs or scavs on set maps or any map, depending on the section, with a specific gun. So some of them, it starts with AKs, which is not so bad. Everybody loves AKs, especially at early wipe. But then it moves to sniper rifles, SVDs, so sort of you have to learn in Punisher to play every gun style in the game. But the problem being right now with the recoil, everything that you're going up against can just roast you. Absolutely. Yeah. And on top of that, you cannot wear good armor. All of the armor you wear is tier 2 or 3. It's bright blue. It is easy for others to spot you and hard for you to kill them. But getting through it is sort of like this breath of fresh air. And to be fair, when you finish it, you have so much loot in your inventory that you couldn't use during the Punisher sequences that you are like, oh, level 5 forever, which is a pretty wonderful feeling. Those of you
That's
at
a
home,
rite of passage.
Yo, once you move into Corund life, like there is no going back. Again, level 5, bouncing bullets, you feel like a Terminator. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You guys know, if you're about the Corund life, let us know. Reminder, I want to remind you guys, before we bring our guest on, we're going to do it in just a second, because I think I want him to hear Poro's story, because he's a Sherpa.
Yeah.
He deals with beginners all the time, so that just makes sense to me. So we're going to go ahead and get him on here in a second. But I'll remind you guys, you can find us at Kitted Podcast on all social media, TikTok, Twitter, everything else. We're on YouTube. We're out on Spotify now, so you can get the podcast. We put it up on Mondays at 6 a.m., so if you set up that RSS feed, it'll be ready for your work drive, your gym time, whatever else you need it for. And then we do have a website as well, kittedpodcast.com, so you can go check that out. All right,
Damn.
let's do. I know, right?
I didn't know we had a website.
Yeah, we got it all. We got it all. It's the folks at Evasion.
Legit.
I was like, let's do a show where we just talk shit about a video game we like and experience it. And then Evasion was like, we'll produce that. And they came out and put together all the assets and everything else you see here. So shout out to them. They're doing a great job with the editing.
Yeah, shout out Evasion.
Now, this guy, I think he knows Sigma, the head of Evasion, very, very well. She said that he is I believe, Ron Swanson to her Leslie Knope was the description that I got. So let's bring him on and chat a little bit here. It is none
Sounds like
other.
every Tinder profile that I've ever
right? Oh, I didn't realize how much skin I was showing. Jesus Christ. Vanarambaion. Can you tell me how to say that, brother?
Vanarambaion, but everybody just calls me Van or Vanna.
Okay, I like that. Vanarambaion. He said it with such swagger and simplicity, Poro.
Vanarambaion.
Look at this guy. He just nailed it on the first try.
I have that name mostly because I know no one's going to steal it. So.
I mean, it is a hell of a lot of letters.
Yeah, you tried.
Let's be honest.
I tried to tweet at him yesterday. I got his name and then like, DM me. That's all I could fit. It was wild. All right, Vanna, you are a Sherpa and you do a bunch of modding. Let's start with Sherpa. Before we get into Poro new player stories, I want you to tell me a little about what a Sherpa is, so that those who are listening to the podcast understand why I had to bring you in here to help me with this knucklehead.
Well, all right. So the Sherpa program started, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago now. It's been out for a long time. And basically, you know, the way most developers make a game, right? They put out the game. If it's too hard, they get a lot of feedback saying it's too hard, and then they make the game easier, right? So they bring the stress level, the skill level down to a reasonable level. And BSG said, F that.
Right.
We're going to throw all that out the window. The game is hard. It's going to be hard, and you're going to hate it.
Yep.
What we're going to do instead is we're going to put these guys out there that, you know, have been through that, have already lost their minds to this game, and can help you lose your mind to it as well.
So,
and that's what the Sherpa program is.
So I know that you're out there. I know there's like a Sherpa podcast. I know there's a Sherpa Discord. If someone like Poro were trying to get a Sherpa to help him like learn the game, what do they do? How do you go about doing that?
So there's two ways to do it. Through the website, you can go into your profile, and there is, I think it says like Sherpa program or get help or something like that right on that main profile page. And you can click over there, and it's a very it's an old system. It's dated. But you can request it, help through there, and it basically you get put in a big database, and the Sherpas that still use that database will go through there and grab the ones that they can help with, and go that route. The way that most people now do it, in the age of Discord, is we have a Discord channel, called the Sherpa Hub. And you can go in there, same process. You go in, you make a ticket. It gets put into a big like list. The list of channels in the Sherpa Hub is insane, especially when people are requesting help. So we go in there, we read what you need help with, because you have to fill out a little form, and we grab that ticket and then set up a time to run a few raids with you. Nothing
drives players, specifically gamers, to do something like having to do paperwork before we start it. So that we'll explore the options there. Now, that's an open server for anybody to join, right, Van?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So for those of you who are listening at home, if you're on the podcast, when you get home, go to our YouTube channel or check out our social media. I will ask our editor to put the Discord link in the description of the video. So if you do want to join, you want to get some help, you can just head over to the YouTube channel, Kitted Podcast, follow the link, and get over there where Van and the rest of the Sherpas can possibly give you a little bit of help. So there's a link in the Twitch if you're watching the live recording, but we'll have it on all of our content as well.
I got a question. How long is what's the typical turnaround? So say a new guy comes in, requests assistance. What's I don't know if you're even in a place where you can answer this, but like what is the typical turnaround for that from the time that I make a request to the time I get a response?
It depends on a lot of things. Depends on the time of the wipe. Depends on what you're requesting help with. So there are a lot more Sherpas that are going to be able to teach you, like, let's get you through that first woods raid and get you Jaeger and, get you to the other side of the map and get you extracted so you can, open up that trader. Then there is going to be, when you go in there and like, I'm a level 68 and I want to learn labs, so you're going to wait a lot longer on a ticket like that than you are.
Labs can eat a dick.
Ticket.
Yeah. so would you say like early on in the wipe for new players is probably better, or
early on? So right now we're dealing with everybody. Like it's just the sheer volume of tickets. So everyone.
How many tickets do y'all get?
We did last month. They just put this out. Actually, we did 518 tickets, I think. Something like that.
And how many Sherpas are there, roughly?
Less than 100. Maybe less than 50. I don't know who's active right now.
The activity is the question.
Yeah. So the way that it works is if you do a certain number of tickets each month, then you remain active essentially.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
There's
requirement. I guess on the other end of that coin, then, if you're an experienced player and you're looking at maybe joining the Sherpa program, how would you go about doing something like that?
Good question.
It's a lot of the same process.
Okay.
You join the Sherpa Hub. We have a channel in there that tells you all the stuff that you need to do. You get put into a training program to make sure that you're not, a Timmy in disguise. And then eventually, once the powers that be are satisfied, and then we have some mentors and your recruiters that specifically are looking for people who want to be part of the program. But once everyone's satisfied and you've checked all the boxes, then you become a Sherpa. You get your green name and you go to work.
You get a special name.
That's cool though. Oh, well, there you go. Yep. See, that's something even else to look for. But that's cool though that you actually have like it seems like a very like intricate, like detailed kind of system, and it's not just kind of a fly by night type of thing. So that I would say, if from a new player's perspective myself, that would be a little bit more appealing to me than just like like a fly by night thrown together thing where like I might ask for help and never get something, or I'm just getting the one idiot that's just a giant asshole and just doing it for the clout.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, I mean, those types don't last very long in any part of the process. So even the guys that get their green name and become assholes get weeded out pretty quickly.
Now, I will say this: you have not, I don't think, gone through the chance to matchmake yet, Poro. And because you're already talking something you should know. It doesn't even involve Sherpas. Is you're gonna eventually get to live if you've done it. You've seen names, and you're gonna get invites to join groups. This is not like any other game online. Do not join anyone who invites you to play this game ever, unless you know them and you're friends. There's a whole culture of inviting and then shooting them in the back of the head. And it is, I mean, it's fun to try to. Sometimes we go in there to try to fight those guys, knowing what they're gonna do, but you never know. So anyway, it's a game about slitting throats and hating each other, and that's what we love about it. And I think that's honestly one of the best. I have been shot many times trying to do this. That's one of the things I like about this game, though, Van. And I think you've got a lot of hours in this one too. Is the fact that, like, even when big streamers, and I'm not talking our big streamers, like we've got our Pest and we got our Veritas and the guys who've been around for a long time, but when we get those big ones like Doc and Summit, and a lot of these guys will come through and do the Tarkov during the wipe, and they complain about things like, it seems like Nikita and Tarkov in general for the last 3 years has just responded with, that's just the game, man, and we're not making it easier, and I think Maybe it's the old school grinder in me that really respects the fact that this game says go fuck yourself, you know? Like,
It might be more than that.
oh,
It might be the fact that we've been a part of and been very close to games that have kind of let the big name streamers do a little bit of their dev work for them. So it is nice to not see them cave like that to the big names, the tourists essentially.
Well, a long time ago, Nikita said, you know, they were out to make the game they wanted to make, and you know, if you don't want to play it, maybe this isn't the game for you.
Yeah.
So that's been his attitude all along, which I
respect it.
I love it. Yep.
I mean, and I think the reason they're not on Steam is because they just can't deal with all the refunds. Because it's, I think the 30-day quit is ridiculous in this game. But I think that's what they want. Like it reminds me of the old days, right? With like the first iteration of World of Warcraft, Eve, EverQuest, like those classic grinder games that a lot of the older gamers cut their teeth on. Like that shit did not care about. Like, do you remember Nintendo? Like you weren't supposed to win Nintendo games. I feel like when I saw the victory screen, it was like Mega Man was an achievement. When I saw the credits on Mega Man, me and everybody else who was working together to beat that damn thing, because everyone was better at different bosses, were like high-fiving. Like it was an accomplishment. And so that's what Tarkov gives me, is that feeling of like, you don't like me, developer, but I am going to fucking win anyway. And I think that is something I've missed in the market.
Absolutely.
All right, Poro, let's talk about your experiences. Last week,
are we getting to that already?
Yeah, I'm gonna set it up. Last week when we left Poro, he had done his first ever scav raid. It did not go well, and he was encouraged by our guest last week, Unfluffy Bunny, to try out offline raids to learn more about scavs. We check in now with Poro to see how his progress has gone. Poro, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. So yeah, I guess I was given that fantastic advice about the offline raids to just kind of get in and learn the maps, learn the move. God, the movement's bad. I'm sorry, man. Like just from every game that I'm used to playing, though, going over to Tarkov, like the movement, like I have to fight the urge to vomit from like motion sickness.
Have you turned off your screen shake? There's a screen shake, right? Don't we turn it off?
There's head bob, and I reduced it all the way down, and I'm getting used to it. I also turned my FOV up. So, what FOV do you guys play on?
I couldn't tell you off my head.
Couldn't tell you.
I believe I play on 59 still.
Okay.
59.
I think I'm at 76 or something like that.
So you went all the way. Yeah, I'm like at 60. So I'm around where we. Okay. I don't know if there's like if there's any impact on gameplay, because I know that for some shooters, there can be you can, I think if you have a higher FOV, you can have some kind of impact on the amount of recoil that you experience, just because of how the whole thing works. I don't think that works that way in this game, but
and the recoil in this game's different enough that I don't think we're worried about, the minutia control as much. What FOV will do is people will keep it lower, though, because it is harder to spot anomalies on the screen with the wider FOV. It's less like the higher focus. From what I understand, people who have small FOVs makes it easier to spot the guy in the bush or somebody running in the distance, whereas the wider obviously gives you more peripheral, but can you really manage that entire space?
And not only that, the old guard amongst us remember a time when the FOV actually made a difference in how you had to zero your weapon. Like it affected that, because essentially what you were doing wasn't changing how much you could see on the screen. It was changing where your eyes were in relation to your character and the gun.
So it's like moving you back.
It was a goofy mechanic. I think it's gone now, but that's why my FOV is at a specific number, because it, compensated for that essentially.
That's why he's a Sherpa.
But that's a Pepperidge Farm remembers moment.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I'm sure there's some people out there that will be right there with you in the horse-drawn carriage and the candy striped vest. But sorry, I didn't mean to get caught up in the weeds on some FOV bullshit. But that was one of the things. So I one of the other things that I was suggested was to start on Shoreline. So Shoreline, I went to Shoreline, started on Shoreline. A few things, a few notes.
A few
Why the
notes.
fuck is drop backpack on Z, which is leg prone in literally every other game?
It's double tap Z to be fair.
Yeah, well, I double tap things whenever it's not doing what I fucking want it to. So the amount of times that I've had to go back and pick up a backpack because I'm like, I forget what the crouch button or the prone button is, too high. Secondly, when you're not breaching, why are doors open out every time? That is super annoying. Anyway, I digress.
In, don't they?
I digress, but yeah, Shoreline, not a lot there. So I've been trying to practice the gunplay, right, and just kind of figure out the map itself, and just get comfortable at least on one map, right, before I go into an online thing. So I stuck with Shoreline, and figured out. I finally figured out how to double press O to find your extract, which it doesn't tell you where the fucking extract is, but
You extracted?
I learned. No, I was like, hey, all right, so it says a pier, right? It says pier, boat pier, or pier by boat, boat by pier, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where the fuck I am. I'm surrounded by woods. I'm in a swamp. I see a lot of trees, and then I see some power lines. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a gamble and say if I follow the power lines, I'll get to the coast. That was my thought process in this. Okay, so I did that. And I finally ran into my first scavs. Fucking roasted that asshole. He's the deadest scav ever. Nice. And then I finally make my way down to the coast, and I find even more scout. I found like a pack, what is it, a gaggle?
A gaggle.
Yeah, a murder of scavs.
That's called murders. That's good.
Yeah. And I was feeling myself, man. Like I just had whatever it gave me, and then I picked up a shotgun off of one of them. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I'm nailing these. Like I'm destroying every single, kill all of them. They never even got a shot off, and I'm feeling great. And I'm just kind of walking around, and then I'm like, and I start, and the guy starts bitching. I'm like, he's like, oh, I'm hurting in my ear. I'm like, the fuck you mean you're hurting? Why are you hurting? They never even shot at you. Like, what is going on? And I open up my inventory, and I go to health, and I notice I'm like at like 20 health on everything. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't get shot. I swear to God, I didn't get shot. It was about that time that I figured out that it had been raining for the past like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I'm just walking around like an idiot outside. I'm gonna assume acid rain.
No.
Is that a thing?
Nope. How long had you been raided at that point?
I was just gonna say, yep.
We think at 30 minutes.
It was all like
minutes?
There was like 2 minutes left.
Okay, so
there you go.
You want to handle this one, Van?
Yep. Okay. So it being a survival game, where survival is important. What you probably did is you probably didn't eat or drink during that raid.
Do you remember
what happened was
a sausage?
You might be right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did eventually. Also, I was at a where I killed all those scavs was a gas station by that boat pier. There was a lot of fire. I didn't walk into the fire that I noticed.
Oh, okay. That could be, yeah.
But I'm wondering if maybe the fire got me in a way that I didn't notice. I don't know.
Were you inside the gas station at some point?
I was, but there was no fire in the spot that I was at. And also my head had more damage than anything else.
Yeah, because it has a smaller health bar than anything else. So the damage will impact it more. It wasn't fire. If it was fire, you'd know. When you get on fire in this game, there's screaming and red bright lights and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, it wasn't that. There wasn't that. I'm guessing I just got hungry and had to eat or drink. Is that it?
Yep.
Jesus Christ, dude! It doesn't tell you anything, man.
And as you play more, your character gets a better metabolism, gets better at like managing their hunger, and so the longer you play, the less hungry you get during raids. But when you start, you've got to stop and bring food or plan shorter runs. It is a very, I mean, and that's what it comes down to.
Like
man.
me
For
in real life.
Yeah,
I need my nuggies.
It's an RPG at the end of the day. Like that's Nikita clearly wanted to make a shooter survival RPG sim, or I guess, and that's where stuff like that'll kill you as fast as a bullet.
That's fair. That's fair, and that's cool. Wasn't expecting it. So okay. So then again, I'm like, okay, it says go to boat by pier, right? So I'm like, all right, here's a pier. There's boats. Sick. I'm gonna run out, and I'm running out. I'm standing by the boats, and it's not saying anything. And time's ticking down. I've got like under a minute. There's like 4 boats out there, and I'm running to each one of these boats. I'm like, am I in the right place? What is going on? And so finally the timer goes out, and it says it gave me a green survived. Does that mean I survived? Did I get to the extract? Because I don't know. I still don't know.
Was there ever a countdown timer on the bottom of your screen?
No.
No, then you did not. Unless I'm wrong,
Well,
man. I think he died, right?
It
So
says
if-
survived though.
If it says survived, he survived.
How'd he get out? Maybe.
I don't know, because that's not a scav extract, I don't think.
Were you You were scavving, right? You were playing.
No,
on
no.
PMC.
I was
Oh,
PMC. I was PMC offline raid.
I mean, it's possible
So-
he stood by the right boat and just missed the countdown clock at the very bottom.
That is a long countdown to miss, though.
It's
that
almost 30
particular
seconds,
one.
right? Or is it a minute?
I think it's a full minute.
It's a full minute because it's a nightmare to
Swear
lay
to
there.
God. I mean, well, okay. That being said, when I got to that pier, there was less than 2 minutes left.
I know what happened. It's a new. I think it's new in this patch. It happened to me a week and a half ago on Woods. I had a bitchin' kit, and I was running for the extract with the green smoke by UN extract, and I got
Okay, I never
there.
saw green smoke either.
Well, that's just because the extract was on.
Okay.
And I got there with, I think it was 20 or 13 seconds on the game clock, and the extraction clock was 15. So technically, I wasn't going to make it out. The game immediately pushed me out to the lobby and said survived, but still treated me like I died. Like I lost all the gear and stuff. But it said survived,
That's
and it
weird.
did not count it as a death. It's like it was almost like the game was like, you made it to the extract, so we're not going to ding you on KD, but fuck your gear. And it was super strange. I'd never had that happen before, but it sounds very similar to what you're describing.
Okay, so for
there's-
extract, though, do I need to find the green smoke?
Not for that one.
Not for that one.
That one, and don't listen to anybody else on this. There is no indication whether that extract is open. You have to run down there and see the timer. People will tell you, oh, it's whether the dinghy has a red light on it or whatever. No, that's all garbage. It's all garbage.
Yep.
There is no way of knowing
Last
whether
one.
that one's open.
Very end.
Which
the
boat
last,
is it?
It's the very last port.
It's the last one.
Just straight or to the left?
No, so you cut down to the wood docks and you go all the way to the end.
Like straight out.
No, so down the ramp onto the wood docks, take your first left and go to the very
So
end.
okay, the one on the left.
Yep, and then the last port.
All
at
right.
the end
All the
there.
way down. Yep.
Okay.
And then just lay
And
down
it
and pray
should
no one
pop
shoots you.
up when you get behind the boat, like at the back end of it.
Like at the
it should
back of the
pop up.
boat. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to go all the way around the corner and down. You can.
Because I was at that boat and I never saw anything. Okay.
But that one also has question marks next to it. So when you double tap, if the question marks come up, it might not be open.
Well, that was the only one that was given me. That's the only one that didn't have question marks
That's-
when I started the game,
I wonder if it's because he's never
or when I
discovered
double
one
clicked
before.
though.
There must be a bug or something.
Interesting.
'Cause that one's supposed
Oh,
to
well,
have question marks.
fantastic.
So
That's great news. I feel great about this.
There's a couple tips we can actually give people at home here real quick. So when you double tap the O, it shows you your extracts. If it has a question mark, it means it's not always open. So that's vehicle extracts, things like that. There's extracts you'll see Poro that you could pay to like leave in the middle of the match, or you can try to get to the hard extract. So there's different varieties of ways out. Some of times they're there. If someone takes it, it'll turn red because it means it's already gone. So if you see a red extract, it means it's gone. And you can always get out the main extracts on the opposite side of the map. Here's my favorite tip for you guys at home that a lot of people shockingly do not know. Especially on interchange, this is wicked handy. If you double tap O and the vehicle extract is green, this is customs as well, someone is using it at that moment. The countdown is running. So if you are in the area, you can take the fight and then steal the extract. And if they die while it's green, it resets to gray so you can then take the extract after looting them. So if you need to know information about what's in the area, double tap O is a huge deal because it tells you who's extracting, and if you see it turned red, it means there's at least 1 or 2 PMCs that are no longer on the map to worry about, particularly in that part of the world. So if that turns red by customs, it means Customs is probably clear, and the team that won probably left. So just tips to take with you to make your game a little bit easier when you're trying to figure out what's happening on the map. Van, do you have any extract tips for folks like Poro or anyone at home that they can get a little better at surviving?
Oh man.
Just get there.
See, so I'm trying to be a Giga Chad and not use a map.
No, don't. That's even the Chads use maps, bro.
Yeah. Just
but I'm a Giga Chad.
Until you know the map, learn. Use the map.
I just want to point out that I found the extract with no map.
We're proud of you. We're proud of you.
Get on me.
We're proud of you.
Team Poro starts here.
I have 3,500 hours, and I had 3 maps open when I played today. It's just is what it is, man. This game.
I have 11,000 hours, and I play with a map. So
that is a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours. This game will take it though. And
holy shit, bro! You ever heard that Malcolm Gladwell thing, the 10,000 hour rule? You're 1,000 hours past that.
I want to ask real quick, Van. I got to check. Okay, first I got to check Poro. Poro, current level. I'm bothering.
I'm assuming still 0.
Still, it's
or
1.
1 or whatever.
Starts at 1, so there's no negatives in Tarkov.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, okay, so what's the best way to gain experience in offline raids?
You don't.
Or is there?
You don't.
You just don't. Okay. That's fine.
But you can get to level 2 by going to the traders and identifying all the gear that they have.
That's true.
Gotcha. Okay. I might do that.
That's an easy
I
one.
know that's super interesting, but
I mean, every little bit, right? Every little bit helps.
Watch that new Sylvester Stallone show on Netflix. Go ahead and explore the market while you do this. It's the best. Watch some TV, play with the market.
The King of Tulsa or something like that.
It's actually really good. So was The Recruit, but we'll get into that later. Van,
we're going to turn this into a pop culture podcast
Why
to go
not?
along with the Tarkov. You ever hear? Did you hear Axl Rose singing at Lisa Marie Presley's funeral? Google that shit. It's fucking hilarious.
All right, you heard it here.
Proceed.
Google Axl Rose, Lisa Marie. Van, what level have you gotten to?
I think I hit 36 today.
Nice. And let me ask you,
go.
Poro, favorite gun right now?
Every one of them, because I've been killing everybody.
Nice. He's a scab victorious. Van, what are you running?
My favorite gun, if I have access to it, is the suppressed DVL.
Not really.
Such a good gun.
You're a bull, man. Do you carry a sidearm or a sub when you use the DVL?
I either take a sidearm or I take friends. One or the other.
Okay. Friends is very helpful. If you got a sniper, get a couple of buddies. And we do, when you're ready, Poro, we've got buddies on standby who are willing to take you in. That isn't me, just people that can sort of be a third party. But I think I like what you're doing. I think it's highly entertaining, at least for us here who've been through the grind many, many times.
It's only going to get worse from here.
Listen, I said like 11,000, 3,000. We still hate this game regularly. I mean, I don't know about Van. I guarantee I do. I assume Van still hates this game regularly.
I love it and hate it all at the same time. It's just the way you play Tarkov. I don't know. I don't know any other way to play it.
There are so many fucking nights where you're like, it's like this is the game where you're like, all right, I'm in. Like I got my Red Bulls, I got my chips. I'm gonna settle in for a 4-hour banger of a session, maybe 6, who knows? And then one game is played, and you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go watch Netflix because I cannot deal with this anymore. Or some nights you sit down for one round and you do 20 because you just can't lose. So my recommendation to you is say, this is the last time I'm going to run this kit, and then you will never die. Because apparently that's just how it works. And I'm like, I'm just going to lose this last SVD. I live through the next 12 raids, and I'm pissed that I'm still using that stupid SVD. Okay, Van, I want to give you a little bit of time to talk about yourself. Tell us, you've been Sherpaing, I think, since like 2020, a little bit about your journey, and I think you also mod for a couple of streamers. So I just want to hear a little bit about that job and, like, I've never been a mod. I don't have a stream that's big enough for a mod. So maybe a little bit of teach us what shows mods love or what you would want us to know as we watch our favorite streamers.
Fair enough. So in real life, I'm an attorney. I work as a director of contracts for a small government contractor, doing a lot of contract law, a lot of HR, legally related stuff. We're small, so it's a kind of a one-stop shop for everything. I am currently, hopefully in the next few days, getting my DD 214 and getting out of the Army. Been in the National Guard for just shy of 10 years. So
awesome.
A lot of work.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah,
appreciate it. So those are that's what I do in real life when I'm not wanting to, wanting to hurt myself over this game.
Yep.
So as a mod in the evenings usually, or when I get time during the day or on weekends or whatever, I mod. I found Sigma when she had about 12 people watching her, and ran with her, played with her, modded for her, still mod for her. And we went through the whole, she made partner, she got Evasion up to partner. Like she's wild. If you don't know Sigma, I don't know what you've been paying attention to, but she's worth the follow, worth the view, worth all that. I also mod for, I've picked up along the way various other folks that I mod for. I mod for Dottie Hack. I mod for Sensei Scav, who are two folks who play. Sensei Scav hasn't been playing quite as much Tarkov these days. And Dottie Hack's been playing other things and doing other things. He's a multi-talented kind of guy, so he does a lot. And then in the Tarkov sort of main genre, it's been I mod for Sigma, I mod for Robin,
okay,
and I mod for Genticles. So
nice.
Those are my big three Tarkov mains. Robin is somebody that I recommend for anyone who wants to learn PvP type stuff. He's insane. He's absolutely insane. So even Sherpalings and people who want to get better, or at least want to know what good looks like, because it takes a while to figure out what the heck he's doing and how he does what he does. But he's second to none. Sigma and Jen are all around good people to watch for. They'll teach you how to do things, and to varying extents, I taught both of them how to play, more or less from, well, Sigma not from scratch, but from a lower level up to where she is now. I don't take credit for everything, but those were my first Sherpalings. So
nice. And I think we'll get Sigma on the show at some point to talk, because she does fun content where, like, midstream she'll just go to another streamer's thing and give them a challenge, and get a pistol and go to this place, and we'll give you rewards if you can do it. And that's been kind of a fun community builder. So we'll get her on to talk about some of those programs, as well as Evasion down the line for sure. If you guys aren't aware, Evasion does produce a lot of competitive Tarkov, and that's sort of who they work with. So Vanna, we've got Poro here next week as a Sherpa. What's his target? What does he need to be looking at next week in terms of taking a step forward in his game? I don't want to force thousands of hours upon any human, but how do we get to the point where we're comfortable taking our PMC into the show, if you know what I mean?
Well, actually, I wanted to say that you're doing things the right way, Poro.
Oh, nice.
This is what I tell people when they're trying to, you get the real Timmies, like I have 2 hours in the game and I want you to teach me everything types. They come through every now and then. And my advice to them is always the same thing. Do your offline raids, turn the scavs off, just learn the map, learn the loot spots, learn where you want to go. Then turn the scavs on, get used to the scavs, put it on medium. Don't put it on as an online for difficulty. Put it on medium, and get used to how they are, and not repeating things, because they will shoot you in the face. But also get used to where they're going to be, their spawn points, their pathing, that sort of thing. And then once you're comfortable with that, go on a scav raid, like a live scav raid. That'll teach you kind of a little bit of where the PMCs are going to be later in the maps. But this is such a timing game and such a pathing game that you want to learn where the paths are that PMCs take. And the best way to do that is to not risk your own gear, go do a scav raid. And then once you're all you've done all of these things over and over and over again, and you're comfortable. 6 months later, exactly. Then take your PMC out. And that's how I haven't gotten down to learning streets like that yet. But once I get past some of these tasks and get to where I can, either do Jaeger tasks, which they get way worse than Punisher ever does, or I go to streets, I gotta sit down and learn streets that way. And I'll do the same thing. I'll go offline, I'll turn the scavs on, and I'll do a scav raid, and then I'll go online. But I think you're doing it the right way. I think the next step for you, sounds like at least, is um, a little repetition on the stuff you've been doing, and then move to a scav raid live one.
I
See
will.
what you got.
Sounds good.
I
Sounds
also
about
want
what
to
I
throw
was
this
thinking.
out there for everyone at home if you're starting. You can do it this way. Some people like to jump right into the hell zone. I did that. It sucked. But as a reminder, you can heal for free on your PMC up to level 5. So if you're, say, learning and you want to run rotations of scav PMC, even if it's a hatchet runs or basic gear like pistols, there's really you don't lose anything outside of a shitty weapon, and you do gain experience. So if you go in on your PMC after, like, while scavs are on cooldown, and you just try to get to an extract with a pistol and stuff your pockets full of loot, you're still getting out with experience and potential cash down the line. And if you die, it doesn't matter because you can heal for free. So later on, it sucks, Poro, because you have to start paying if you get hurt to, like, fix that shit. And when you're broke, it can.
Well, by
really
that
suck.
time, I'm gonna have money.
That's what you like to think.
Presumably.
Presumably we all have money. But that is shockingly. This wipe, Van, has this wipe been harder? Like, I've been having a harder time making money in this wipe, I feel like. Am I just crazy?
I found the opposite, actually. I feel like
Really?
I've made more money this wipe than I ever have in any wipe.
secret?
Scav raids on interchange.
Dude, scav. Okay, also scav reserve nighttime right now is wild. There's nobody. It's literally every time I go. I'm a nice scaver. For those of you at home, I don't shoot at scavs. Reserve night, interchange night. I literally end up with a pack of like 6 buddies every single time, and we're just running around looking for PMC deaths and looting the map. So both of those have been pretty good for making money. You're right. If you have to scav, those are the right options. As far as PMC looting goes, though, I felt like it's been. The marked keys are hard to come by. The good rooms are not spawning. The lead X's are nightmarishly hard to get right now. I don't know if it's a confirmation bias because I need a lead X desperately, or if it's just things seem tighter in the last 2 wipes. But it's been hard.
If you're looking for the sexy loot, it's going to be tougher. I am a trash panda. I will take anything that fills the slot because the only thing that's worthless is an empty slot in your backpack. So.
Now that's a saying for us to put at the start of the show. Like,
I like it.
The only thing that's worthless is an empty slot. I love that idea. We're almost out of time because I promise we'll never go past 45 minutes. So I do want to give Van a chance for you to give any shout outs or plugs for the projects you're working on. The floor is yours if you want to talk about it.
Sure. So I plugged the streamers that I mod for earlier. I want to give a shout out to Robin, Sigma, Gentigles, Dottie Hack, and Sensei Scav. You can find them all on Twitch under those names. I am actually putting together not putting together. We've been around for years and years, but trying to build up a clan of folks who run Tarkov every day. And so far I've been successful with that. Unknown Soldiers is the name of it. We play every night. So if you need help, if you just want people to run with, you want to, do a task or take over some location, for whatever reason, come play with us. I'll give you the I'll give you the link to put out later.
Send me the link on the Discord, and then we can put that in the description for the show. So again, if you guys are watching on Spotify, it might be harder to see that or click the link, but head over to the YouTube Kidded Podcast, and we'll have the Discord link for the Sherpa program as well as the, what did you call it? The Unexplained Soldiers?
Unknown Soldiers.
That makes way more sense than Unexplained Soldiers.
It does.
What
are you thinking? Come on, man.
I know. What am I thinking? All right, Poro, do you have any last thoughts or words before we call it a night or a week? I guess since we're only here once a week.
Yeah, no, I would like to say that I will have tales of my first live raid by next week. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I'm getting I really want to learn these maps a little bit more. At least one before I run through. And like you said, like the like where the loot is, like that I feel like is a big thing that I need to figure out because I'm out there looting jackets. Like that's the only thing I know what to look for.
Dude.
So
They have so much money in them.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So a resource for you is I recommend the two things I recommend to everybody are the wiki Wiki has all the information you ever need for any task, any item, any gun, any whatever. It's got all the stats there. Also, Map Genie,
Okay.
mapgenie.io. If you want a good map that it's interactive, you can turn stuff on and off. Can't get better than that. Those are the two.
All right. You guys are breaking me, man. I wanted to be the guy that went into Tarkov and never looked at a map, just kind of learned it.
That guy doesn't exist here. That's why we love this game so much. Like, I'm surprised there's not a browser in game to help you get resource information, because you have to go to the internet. I mean, if you do it without, I will love you for it, but we'll see. Guys, that's all the time that we have for tonight. I will leave you with a tip as you level up.
Just a tip.
Buy sugar
with Toffees.
Use that for your food. Save it at 1 durability, because you're going to need it later. Just stuff it in the back, because when you get to moonshine, you're going to make bank off of it. Buy water from Therapist. Drink it down to 1. Turn it into Aquamari, and then trade that for M1 rigs. It's the best way to make the most out of your money, and that's what this game is all about. Having the cash to have the gear to get the wins. Extract, baby. Thank you to Van for being here. Thanks to
just
Poro.
The tip.
That was just the tip. Another tip, don't squat with your spurs on. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kidded Podcast. We'll see you later.